The reintegration of persons deprived of liberty is a complex process of transitioning from detainment to society as productive members of their respective communities. The ease of reintegration and risk of recidivism, the tendency of PDLs to reoffend, is affected by socio-economic factors like strong familial and societal support, lack of drug use, maturity, personal will, and employment. Employment particularly is a huge factor in the reintegration of PDLs, providing them an opportunity to rehabilitate themselves by developing a daily structure and pro-social connections outside of prison. As a fundamental obligation of prison systems to assist the rehabilitation processes of ex-offenders, pre-release community integration, which involves work, housing, support, and supervision should be organized by internal and external organizations. The real situation is, however, inmates released from correctional facilities receive minimal preparation and inadequate assistance and resources. While society may expect a PDL to live a normal life as a law-abiding member of the community, there will be obstacles such as lack of shelter, unemployment, health problems, and deteriorated social skills. In this study, we aim to answer the question, what embodies the reintegration of persons deprived of liberty into the workforce? The findings of this study may contribute to the better understanding of the reintegration of PDLs into the workforce so that the framework for a proposed program may be developed in order to reintegrate and bridge PDLs in the workforce through fostering workplace relations and increasing productivity by honing the hard skills and capabilities of the PDL.
In our research, we will need to interview our co-researchers and ask them about their experiences during and after their imprisonment. Before the interview, we will need to know if they fit our criteria to be our co-researcher. The researcher will only proceed in the interview if the co-researcher fits the criteria. The researchers will record the interview using video or audio record. All in all, 9 co-researchers were interviewed, but due to the saturation process, only 8 interviews were used. After the saturation, the researchers will proceed in the winnowing.
Qualitative research will be utilized in this study. It is a scientific form of observation that will gather non-numerical data. The form of qualitative research will be phenomenological. The approach to analysis will be Collage's method of data analysis.
From the qualitative research characterizing the lived experience of former persons deprived of liberty from Manila in their reintegration to the workforce, an analogous schema of reintegration arose. The researchers found out that there are 3 main components that characterizes their reintegration. The main components are personal, community, and occupational engagement. While the researchers were exploring the 3 main components, they've discovered that there is a correlation between every component, such as work ethics, stability, and sociability.
In the figure above, there are 3 polygons evident in the visual design: the triangle, the diamonds, and pentagons. The triangle is located in the center of the diagram, representing successful reintegration. As a shape with stable support, it is meant to refer to the pillars needed for successful reintegration to take place. The pentagons, on the other hand, serve as the link between each of the components, symbols of the revitalization of the persons deprived of liberty or PDLs as they transition from their detainment to their work society. The diamonds contain the 3 main components of the reintegration of the person deprived of liberty in the workforce, representing rebirth and referring to the transformation of persons deprived of liberty towards reintegration and their development as productive members of their community. Lastly, color yellow was used in the diagram for it signifies optimism, inspiration, and hope that PDL should have as they enter the working society.
The first main component is the personal aspect. In this aspect, it tackles the changes and ways observed involving their personalities, traits, and characteristics. There are many statements that suggested that the way the co-researchers reintegrated back to the labor force is using their personal beliefs, moral beliefs, virtues, and emotions. The second main component is the community aspect. In this aspect, the co-researchers demonstrated and showed how they reintegrated to the labor force by isolation or socialization. This also shows how the co-researchers interact with the people around them. The interconnection and behavior between the PDLs and the people around them are also shown in this aspect. There are many statements that suggested that the way the co-researchers are integrated back to the labor force is using the quality of communication, building and strengthening the trust and connection. The third main component is the occupational engagement. In this aspect, it shows how the co-researchers behave and do their respective jobs. There are many statements that suggested that the way the co-researchers are integrated back to the labor force is using their skills and intelligence in their jobs, using their motivation and reward system to further improve the quality of the job, adjusting and adapting to the new change of workplace and co-workers.
The sociability aspect. Sociability is the aspect that is formed when a person deprived of liberty reintegrates themselves interpersonally and intrapersonally. It is an indication of their willingness to interact within their community actively. The community component is the interpersonal section, while the personal component is the intrapersonal section, influencing one another. Thus, this aspect is characterized by the interactions between the community and the person deprived of liberty towards their reintegration. The work ethics aspect. Work ethics is defined as the values a person has centering around his or her employment, reflected in a desire to work hard. In the aftermath of the persons deprived of liberty's release from imprisonment, they undergo a series of major changes in transitioning back to their communities. In overcoming these difficulties, persons deprived of liberty developed skills in order to reintegrate themselves. As influenced by their previous lifestyles, persons deprived of liberty develop different approaches and outlooks in regards to their jobs in order to persevere in their current employment. The work ethics aspect, therefore, is identified by the influence of the personal component and the occupational engagement component on one another. The stability aspect. Stability is the firm establishment of the persons deprived of liberty in the community and in the workforce, through the fulfillment of social and financial needs. While it is an important aspect in reintegration, most persons deprived of liberty have difficulty attaining this due to the disadvantages that their past detainment gives them, increasing the risk of recidivism and inclination to isolate themselves instead of reintegrating into society. In overcoming these difficulties, persons deprived of liberty develop skills in order to reintegrate themselves. Summarily, the stability aspect is formed by the community component and the occupational engagement component, characterized by the persons deprived of liberty relationships in their community and their means of livelihood. In order to achieve complete and successful reintegration into their workplaces, persons deprived of liberty must first fulfill the three aspects formed by the three components as shown in the analogous schema of reintegration.
Personal, community, and occupational engagement. When these three stages are